4/2/2025. I'm going to do a quick lesson on support and resistance, understanding the when support becomes resistance and vice versa. And I think we can do that today with quite a few charts. So again, the very basic thing that I want you to understand is if we have chart and we come in here and we draw a zone, right? We've got value area low, point of control, value area high, right? So area low, go C, value area high. When does price action is underneath? So this is resistance until it does what? Resist until price action can come up here and at least, for me, touch this value area high. And what that means from a psychological standpoint is that anybody that was trapped in here has had the opportunity to get out. Anybody that wants to sell into this level has done so. If you're not going to stop out as it goes below and comes back up, great. I'm not worried about you. But at that point, bam, it's now support. So if it does this, buy the pullback, right? If it does this, I have the right to buy the pullback. So usually what I do is I'll come in here and I will say, all right, we've broken up. And if we break up to like right here, I'll be like, all right, I want to buy off a point of control and then risk down here at value area low. So I'd have a buy now that we've broken above. Now, if we break far enough away, at that point, I may say, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and pay up. And I'll buy here as well. And I'll break it into 3 buys. But bottom line is this resistance is gone once you touch that level and it becomes support. Okay? Any questions on that? Now, same thing happens on a absorption play that I'll say, hey guys, I really think in this box you're going to get a bounce. And so as we're coming down, I'll say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy here, I'm going to buy here, and I'm going to buy here. Very rarely do we just chew through. It happens, but not very often. What happens most of the time is you get a bounce somewhere in here. Maybe it's here, maybe it's here, maybe it's here. But you do get a bounce, and it allows you to partial out and average down. So what I do is wherever that bounce comes from, let's say I get filled on these two, my risk doesn't change unless the bounce pulls out of this zone. So, for example, if it does something like this, what do you guys think I'm going to do right there? Right there. What do you think I'm going to do? Got to buy. Well, at that point, once it's bounced back up to this buy zone, I'm actually going to sell because that's resistance, right? That's value area high, which is resistance for this buy right here. And so I have the right or the option to sell up to half of this buy. Now, let's say I do that and it rolls back over. I can buy it right back right there if I want to. Or I can wait and see if it comes down to here. Same thing. I would buy here. But this is still my risk, right? It starts breaking below this, I'm out. Now, if it comes from here and bounces up to here, what do you think I'm going to do? Right here. Well, at that point, I can sell half of that. So now I'm lowering cost basis, and this is me digging the ditch. But the bottom line is this box is where I think the bounce is going to come from. Once the bounce comes and extends away like this, I take away the buys that were down here because we've already gotten the bounce in the box. We came into the zone and now we're pushing up and out of the zone. So what I'll tell you guys is the first hit, 80-20, right? Probably hold 80-20. However, if it does its little thing and it comes over and does this, right? Well, at that point, this is support. You probably got about a 50-50, 60-40 shot, depending upon the chart structure. Well, if you want to try to play it, great, go for it. However, if it does something like this, there's no way I'm buying it here because it flips. Right? Now you've got 2080 that it holds. Right? It's probably going to come down and break. So, the whole point of everything we're trying to do is we're trying to create zone 1, or that I'm doing, zone 2, which is where we are, then zone 3. Zone 2 is where we currently are. Current price. Zone 3 is the first resistance above. Zone 1 is the first support below. Okay? Now, what I do is within zone 2, I'll actually break it into another zone 3, zone 2, and zone 1. And that's what I'm doing when I'm buying value area low and selling value area high or point of control. Like zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm breaking those zones up. And then once I dig that ditch, the goal is to take it back to the next zone. So let's go ahead and look at this and how it applies today on real charts. So for example, can somebody tell me on Tesla, knowing the way that I just explained it, here, let me shrink it down. Maybe you can see the timestamps better and the prices. Where do you guys think I bought Tesla today? If you're looking like this is Tesla's price action. Here, let's take away all the lines. Let you just see the price action. So here's Tesla's price action for today. Where do you think I bought it? No, I didn't buy it at open. I could have. I had the right because it's right at support. So yes, that is the right idea, right? But I didn't. I was busy with Amazon, a bunch of other things. So once it starts breaking up and through this box, I'm sorry, I meant to amplify that. When does this box area become support? Right? When does this box area become support? When did it happen? What price had to get hit? Yeah, 278.12, right, Lucky? 278.12 got hit, and I'm like, all right, we're through. I want to buy the next pullback. Now, here's the quote-unquote art of it, and there's no wrong or right when we talk about this. Could I have bought right here, right when it hit that level? Sure, yeah. I mean, as long as you're understanding this is risk and this is, sure. I personally did not because we didn't push up far enough and away. So where's the next level that I can buy? Yeah, it's 274.84. That's when I bought. Here, my timestamp is 5228. Right here. So this is the candle that I bought right there. Right when it came in and hit that level, bam, let's grab it. Okay. Now, now that I bought right here, right, point of control, where's my risk? What am I risking? Like, hey, you got to stay above this level. That's right. Yep. 271.66. This value area low right here, right? I want it to stay above this level. But I also had another buy there in case it did come into that level. Why didn't I buy when it closed the gap? Because when you close a gap, you often go the opposite direction. So it's oftentimes resistance. We didn't hear because it was news. I don't know if you guys heard. They PR'd something about Musk might be done helping Trump and maybe he's getting back to work. I don't know. So again, in a real life scenario, we broke above, we pulled back, put in a buy here, put in a buy here, risk. Okay, great. Now for me, again, what I do, this is me digging the ditch. I sold a portion here at this double top. Once I sold a portion here at this double top, I can buy back again if it comes back in. Look, I could have bought there. I did not. I could have bought there. I did not. These are all opportunities for us to understand these are support levels, right? Now, let's do it to the SPY. Let's see what, and I think I'm going to have to go into a little bit more detail on this one because a lot of times what I'll do on less, how do I say this, on when there's not as much volume within a certain area, again, it's just me being lazy, but it's because I can understand the chart. I'll just put one line instead of the value area high and the value area low. A lot of times I'll be like, hey, when we get here, this is the over under. And then I'll come in and kind of narrow it in. So here, let's look at the SPY. Now, we all know loaded the boat this morning on the SPY, right? I got Friday's calls. I got 0 DTEs. I was like, hey, let's get it, right? Let's get some SPY. Well, why? Why am I loading up on the SPY down here? Why am I buying it right here? It's the same idea as Tesla, right? We're into support, right? We're into kind of this last ditch effort. It's going to hold here, or we're probably going to come all the way down here. All right, great. I bought the SPY. Now, where is resistance points on the SPY? Well, here. And what do you know? It hit that level and rejected. Here. Oh, what do you know? It hit that level and rejected. So when you guys hear me say things like, hey, I'm taking partial, it's usually because, not always, but it's usually because we're getting into some resistance levels. Okay, great. Well, once we break above this level from technical analysis, what should happen? Right, Cabby? Anybody that's going after Elon, he'll be like, all right, they're all closed down. I can go back to work. That's funny. Yeah, Lucky, it should head to the next zone. Exactly, Cabby. Right. All right. Well, where's the next zone? That becomes resistance, right? Until we get above it. Now, again, this is what I'm talking about me being lazy here. Ultimately, this is your next group of people that you're going to be playing against. Ultimately, these are the peeps that are going to hold you down. So what do you need to do? Well, what you're supposed to do and what I used to do when I was really like when I couldn't react and read charts just on the fly like I can now, I have to come in here and do everything by hand. Oh, okay. Well, ultimately, you can see that's point of control, that's value area high, that's value area low. Okay, understood. I know where these levels are because I know where the main thing is, right? All right, so what should we be doing as we approach A little bit of resistance here, a lot of resistance here. What should we be doing? We should be selling and or shorting, whatever you feel comfortable doing, right? Until when? Well, once the SPY gets above this level, well, you're going to have clear room. This is what I call air, right? You're going to have air to this group of people, right? All these people. So what I want to do, my whole trading style is sell resistance until when? Until it becomes support. So could we have bought this little thing right here? Absolutely. Taken, what is this, $2? We could have taken $2 out of this with ease, right? Yeah, sure. Great, that's support. Well, what happens if it comes down lower here? Is the chart broken? No. No, actually, that's your point of control. I'd like to buy that as well. When does this become resistance? Once we do all this jazz and then break down. That's your retest and roll over for then that becomes resistance. And so all I do, guys, is I dig the ditch within the boxes so that I can set up free trades so that if and when we just rip, I'm going to make a bunch of money. So like I was buying Fridays down here. I've already taken 100% out of these options. And I've already taken off over 70% of the trade. So on Friday, if we're at 546, I don't care. But if we're at 575, I'm gonna be like, hey guys, remember when we bought this? Remember when everybody else was too scared to buy and we did it anyway? Yeah, this is why we get paid and they don't, right? That's how I do all of this over and over and over. Okay. AB made us buy SPX with 7 calls. There, got us paid. Oh, nice. Okay, so here, I'm going to try to catch up on some questions. And before I catch up, I'm going to go through a lot of very common questions that I get. So the first question that I get is, what time frame do you use? Time frames don't matter. It literally doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you want to go back and play and look against the people that you're playing. So, for example, if we were to look at the SPY, the most important people right now are these people who are providing you support, and then these people who are providing you resistance. That's it. Those are your most important. So if you just wanted to play off of those guys, just go back a couple days. Now, when it becomes choppier, like up here, it's a little bit harder. So if the SPY does this, well, where do we need to look now? Well, right here. Right? That's going to be your main level. But once you start getting into this box, you're dealing with a lot more people, but still the most important people are the last people. You do want to verify that you got levels, especially if there's any big, huge orders. A lot of times you'll get a lot of block orders that you need to keep track of. Now, if the SPY rolls over and comes down, the SPY rolls over and comes down here, well, where do we need to go back and look for support? Right? Well, where's the closest peeps? That's not a great straight line, but right here. So where's the next group of people that are going to be supporting us? Right here, right? Right here, right? So we start zooming down to say, hey, what's the closest I can see? The closest, the most detailed version of VP that I can get in those zones. That's it. That's how you do it. So time frames don't matter. You look back as far as you need to look back to see the closest support and the closest resistance. Once you've established the closest support and resistance, you do want to go back and see if there's anything more that could provide resistance. So, for example, if Tesla, for whatever reason, gets up to here, well, if I could draw straight lines, that would be helpful. But let's see, I have that ability here. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. You ready? I upped my sensitivity. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, hey, hey. Ah. Okay, I got a somewhat of a straight line there. Um, well, what I need to start doing now is understanding that within these people, I'm going to have to break it down a lot. And what I mean by that is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to break down these guys. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to break down these guys. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to break down these guys. Now, most of the time, they're going to line up pretty closely. But every once in a while, you may get like a value area high here, a point of control, a value area low here. Then there's like this huge order that hit like right here. Maybe it was here. Maybe you've got this end of day block order, dark pool order that's hitting, and you want to keep track of that stuff. But the most important are going to be the latest people. And then once we get above these people, well, all of a sudden, all we got are these people. So we'll go back to them. Well, is there anything else back that we need to pay attention to? No, that's it. There's nobody else, nobody above us. Does that make sense? Yes, Fog, great question. Fog says, if you need to go back a month to find support, is it valid? Absolutely, it is. Yep. So, Fog, what I would like to do here. So, what I'm trying to do, I want to show Fog. I don't know how it's going to play out, but we'll if we're starting to break these lows, if the chart looked exactly like this, right, and we're starting to break down all these lows, right, like how far back are we having to go? We're literally having to go back. We're in February, we go back to January, we go back to December, we go back to November, October. And so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we definitely need to go back some months here. What what's the tightest that I can get zoomed in on these people, right? So can't do it on a 30. I'm just going to do it right here. I think I can get. I think I can get a decent. Okay, so by looking at this, Paul, you've got some support up here, right? You got some support here, right? I'm just marking out the big support areas right now, right? All right, so we've gotten some decent spots that are like, hey, maybe we get some bounces in and around here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit tighter to see if there's any within these two levels right here. I want to see where the support will come from on these two. So you can see there is some right here. And I would kind of bring that, you can leave that one up there, but I'd be like, all right, let me throw a little bit in right here just to kind of make sure that I've got that noted, and then maybe a little bit right here, not much, but there's still some. So now when I undo zoom, I can still come back over here and look at these right here, right? Yeah, okay. So we got here. Yeah, I'd move that one a little bit down, probably. Okay, right there. All right, so I'm comfortable now knowing where the levels are that I should buy if I'm looking at the SPY when it looks like this. So if this starts breaking down, where are the support zones? Well, let's look how that chart actually played out. Okay. So if we undo the zoom, so we come in, remember the zone, we come into the zone. We don't always get a bounce at the top, at the middle, at the bottom. But look, if we set up a buy, right? A buy. You can set up 4 buys if you wanted to, one here and one there. Well, where would my first sell be? Well, once we did this and came back up, I would have sold some. I would have bought some more, sold some, right? I would have bought some more down here, sold some, right? So you see how digging in this ditch would have given me a free trade if we went straight back up? Well, we did it once. We tried going. It didn't work. Okay. Well, shoot, now we're coming into a double bottom. Now we've actually broken lows. This is my favorite type of double bottom. Right? So, again, do you see how just drawing those levels from a month ago worked out perfectly? That's the power of understanding volume profile, right? So, yeah, so anytime that I buy underneath the line, so here, so this is what it would have looked like, right, when it was pulling in. So if I would have had a buy here and a buy here, I would have sold up to half of this buy back here. Because ultimately what I'm hoping it does, I hope it comes in lower. If it doesn't, great, it'll reverse. I can buy some more. Then it rolls over, right? And then I can buy some more at my next spot. Well, the next sell for me from this buy is right here. And then right here. Now, by the time I've done all this, buying and selling, what that means is I've got a cost basis here at 560.64. I've got a cost basis at 557.41, which is this one. And then I've got a cost basis at 552.68, which is this one. But what I've done is I've taken out half a position of this one and gained 552 to 5 points out of that one. And then maybe another half a position. So 75, I'm holding only 25% position of this one, but I've taken out $8. So I've got a net gain of $8 out of those. And out of this one, I've already taken out, $3 out of about half of this one. So now all of a sudden, the one that I still got a full position on at 560.64, right? Yeah, I've already taken $11 out of this. So that's going to take this cost basis all the way down here, if not below my stop out. And that's where it becomes the free trade. Does that make sense? So this is me digging the ditch in these zones. That's all I'm doing when I'm trading within the zones. And then I'll say to you guys, hey, don't be in a hurry to take profits. Like we got room. Like what I said on Netflix today. It was Netflix, right? Right. It was like, hey, once you're breaking over this level, don't take profits till 950. Right. That's the first time. That's when you just let it run. D-Man, are you using shares or options? Yes, I use both. So I'll do shares a lot, but I'll do options a lot as well. So when I am setting up longer term buys, like today on Amazon, I'll play heavily in the shares. But I'll also buy medium dated options. So like for example, today on Amazon, I bought the July 18th, 25, $200 calls, right? They were $9. And so I was buying shares, but I was also buying options. Fog, it just needs to be done 1,000 times. Fog, I promise you, you do it 1,000 times, you'll get it. It'll come. Now it's going to be harder, right? You're going to have to see a lot of things after the fact when you're just learning. But this is the stuff that I try to do with you guys every single day, so that because if you can do this on the 1 minute chart, you can do it on any chart. You can do it on a 10 minute, 15, hourly, daily, monthly, weekly. Like, it doesn't matter. If you can do it on the 1 minute, you can do it at any time, because the 1 minute is going to be the quickest and fastest one to go. Um, okay, here, give me 1 sec. I'm going to try to catch up on questions just real quick. Did it this? Okay, good. Yes, that's I'm digging that ditch. Anytime you hear me say I'm digging the ditch, I'm just playing zones within zones, and I'm trying to get a free trade set up so I can take it to the next big zone. Okay, so what Cap Scoop said here is important. And if you made your third buy and it continues to drop through, you stop. Do you sell all that you have purchased on the way down? Absolutely. Here, this is very, very important. When you are setting up a risk profile, you have to set it up as if the trade doesn't work at all. So, for example, if you're trying to buy this zone that we just drew out from back here, if you're only willing to risk, let's say $1,000, let's say you're willing to risk $1,000, that's your R. And we're just gonna keep it with trades for right now. And you see this zone that you'd like to buy in. You're like, all right, let me set up a trade. Well, you have to set it up as if all of it goes against you. And so if that's, you set a buy here, buy here, buy here, and then it just goes right through, you have to sell all of it, get rid of all of it. The trade's broken. So if you were to buy 25 shares here, let's say 25 shares here and 25 shares here, let's say that gives you a cost basis of 554, 75. So let's just say 75 times, let's say 450. That's $337 you're risking. Okay, so what that means is we could do probably, and again, what I do a lot of times is the value area high. If I do buy off of that one, I buy a smaller size. So here, let's change it to 35, 50, and 50. So if we bought, that's going to give us about 552-ish. That would raise it to about 553-ish. And we would have 125. We've got 125 and we're risking. So that gets you a $500 risk, right? And this is how you set it up. And no matter what happens, the most you're going to lose is if it chews right through and you stop out. The beauty of it happens, though, when you're like, all right, I've got $1,000 risk, and I've sold, I've sold some more. At this point, you've probably already taken out $500, $400 or $500. So now your risk is cut in half, right? So even if it rolls over, the most you're going to lose is that $500. And you can play with your risk after you've bought and sold. Math is hard, right? Okay. Even trying to My M. No, that if I'm approaching them from above or below, I'm not always playing long. So, for example, on the spy, what we talked about on the spy, when the spy started coming into this area, this is a short area for me. I would be willing to short that. The reason I'd be willing to short that, do you guys remember the very first thing I talked about today? I said, guys, I think we're in kind of a waiting period. I don't think we're going to go up. I don't think we're going to go down. I think it's a buy the dip, sell the rip environment, right? So because I don't think we're just going to continually start ripping, yeah, I'm going to short it when it gets too far away to the upside, and I'm going to long it when it gets too far away from the downside, right? That makes sense. So yeah, no, it's used for shorting and longing. Okay. If I missed your question, just type it in again. I apologize. Now, don't forget today at 4 o'clock, we're getting the tariff news from President El Presidente, and so if you're playing anything, just know you are risking a binary type event. My personal opinion is it's going to be not as bad as what people are thinking it's going to be, but with Trump, you never know. It could be 10 times worse. He could come out and say, yeah, I don't think reciprocal tariffs are going to do it. I want to go whatever they're doing to us times two. Right? Who knows? Yeah, this session is recorded. So if there's no other questions, I'll stop the recording. Yeah, that's a great question. So Dina asked a question about stopping out because of wicks. The usually what happens, usually what I'm trying to do, Dina, is when I'm digging a ditch, I'm a lot looser with my stops. And so what I mean by that here, let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. That's a great question. If let's say this is the area that we're wanting to buy from, and we come down here and this is an intraday chart, right? And it does something like this, that's probably not going to stop me out on an intraday chart. I'll give it a little bit of room. But what usually happens when I'm usually trying to do is if I buy some here and I buy some here, it usually does something like this, and then it allows me to take partial profits, which allows me to loosen up my stop. Let's say I bought 100 here, I bought 150 here, and I'm going to buy 200 here. Well, I've sold 75 for $1.50 gain, and so I'm only down to 75 position on that one, and I've netted $1.50 out of 75. So in reality, even though this is my stop, to risk the same exact amount, I can give it a little bit more room. Does that make sense? The next thing to understand about this is if there's ever a double bottom or something, let's say there's a low that's already been put in, a lot of times they're going to break that low, and you need to be prepared for it just to reclaim it. Now, how you do that according to risk control is up to you. The way that I normally do it is if my max risk is $1,000 and I want to buy 100 shares, I would buy 20, 30, 40. And so that way I've got 90 shares or maybe even 30 and have 80. And then I would leave an additional 20 if they did some kind of wick. And a lot of times you'll see right underneath my big zones like this, I'll have a little bitty lighter arrow that looks like this. And I call that the Efren stop loss because the guy that I was trying to teach about trading, his name was Efren. I said, so sometimes there's this Efren stop loss where I'll add and or risk against that level. But again, the main thing to understand is support, right? Up here, resistance here. It hits this level. Now it becomes support. If it hits this level from above, right? Well, shoot, now we're going against it. Okay, I will stop this recording.